Hello and welcome to part two of chapter 13 in the content marketing strategies course, where in part one, I talked about the first part of the chapter, which goes into detail on the process of updating older content, why you should do that, and how. And that went a little bit longer than I wanted it to go. So I wanted to save part one here, or part two, for the really good stuff, and that is repurposing content. There's only going to be a couple of slides here, and then we will dig into a couple real world applications of AI programs that I have used that I really find interesting, especially when it comes to social media applications. So, to start, when I talk about repurposing content, I'm talking about taking something such as a blog and turning it into a video, turning it into an audio, into a podcast, turning it into an infographic, turning it into a carousel for LinkedIn, turning it into a Twitter thread. All sorts of content exists. And I took this slide out, and I guess I should have kept it. I've got about 30 different types of content that you could create between social, owned media, earned media, even paid media, that you can use when it comes to repurposing your content. And I look at this as being a great way to try and connect with your target audience in a different and meaningful way. So, the big three examples that I like to talk about, I think these are probably the most common, are one, blog post to video. Two is in taking an infographic and turning it into either an ebook or a download or something. And then third is taking a podcast episode and transcribing it into a blog post. Now, about a year ago, I will say, the ability to transcribe content, such as a podcast, that's been around for a long time. However, AI is making it easier. It's formatting it in a better way, and it's making it where about 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, I could have just done a transcription through Zoom, except the amount of time it would take me to go through, remove the back channels, the ums, the ands, the words didn't catch correctly, and put them into a proper formatting with headings, subheadings, reviewing my keywords, all of that. That's like a several hour process. It is not easy. So, luckily, AI is starting to automate some of those. I think you can look at the same here. Like these are my three AI tools that I use for these different repurposing. I've used Visme for 18 months. They really the automated it, the AI element of it is fairly rudimentary, but at the same time, I can drop an infographic into Visme, and it's going to give me a fully designed ebook. I just have to move the content around. It's not going to rewrite all the content for me. I'm going to have to do that. But if it can spit out an 8-page pre-designed, branded ebook that I just then need to copy and paste text, that's saving me all the saving me all the time in the world. I can write the text. I can move text. The design element I can't do. And if I could do it, would take me hours. It would take me a day. So, it's really important to understand here the role of AI in its infancy and what it can and can't do. The top one, I know I kind of went backwards here. Pictory is a tool that will allow you to take a blog post, you upload a post, upload a link, and create video clips for you. A lot of it is stock images and royalty-free music. But every now and then, it can create something that is pretty insane, where it can create an avatar essentially of you, or you can just have it be a general person, and they can not just read the blog post, but paraphrase it and turn it into more of a narrative form. I have not had a ton of luck with that one. I would say actually Pictory is even better for a different type of repurposing that we're going to look at in a moment. But the fact is it exists, and it is it's only going to improve in terms of the AI abilities. So really my question for you is, at what point are you going to get involved and start taking advantage of these resources? Just a couple of quick notes on the repurposing content. Written content is the most versatile. It can be repurposed into almost anything else. I've even taken a blog post and turned it into a Spotify playlist. Not every single word. I know that, though there are some kitschy ones that are like that, but more topical. And the way that you do this, not the Spotify playlist specifically, but the way that you go through the repurposing process is you want to outline your article, all right? You don't just want to take the words and drop them in, although you'll be able to do that with AI pretty soon, I imagine. But you want to make sure that you include the points that you want to include and you remove the points that you don't think you need. When I think about the writing of a blog post, by the way, I usually think about all of this in advance. And so I recently wrote an article about how I almost got scammed. I just kind of like went along with it for a while, small business scam when dealing with website development. And I outlined in the article some of the red flags to look for in scamming. And I did that first because I wanted to turn this into a LinkedIn carousel. And I thought, okay, this will be good for a carousel post. But I also did it because I think that would be good for recreating into shorter social media forms. And that is where AI comes in. I had, I think, 6 what I called red flags. Like, what are you looking for in a scam? And my process is I write the blog post. I have the outline. I put it through Pictory, see if it'll create a good video for me. Then I go through something like this. This is Qlip. I think it is Qlip. And it will, and Pictory does this too. It can then identify the best parts and turn them into YouTube shorts or Instagram reels or TikToks, whatever you think is important. And they take you see what they say here. They take your long form videos and make them snackable highlights. And this here is where the social media game can change in a hurry. Because in 2022, it was tedious and redundant to do this. I've got probably 100 different videos out here that are similar to this. I'm not showing my face on this one. It's late at night. I don't think it's, you don't want to see my, dark, sullen 5 o'clock shadow. But at the same time, if I had video for this, it would take me another 4 hours, maybe not 4 hours. It would take a long time. 1, I need the video editing equipment. 2, I need to go back and look at the timestamps. 3, I need to make sure that I can go back and edit them appropriately. Like, it takes a long time to cut up a video and make them more of those snackable, digestible highlights. But if AI can do this for you, obviously it's going to get some of the highlight selection wrong. That saves you a ton of time and makes your social media that much more engaging, more compelling. And you can do this with anything: videos, images, links, summaries. And I'm going to bring up here some of these tools. Now, I first want to introduce you to this is Futurepedia. This has become a website that I maybe use more than any other right now. Every day, there are new tools in AI being added here. Now, I pulled up a few that are specifically for social media that I've used that I really like. One, this is Taplio. This is specifically for LinkedIn. And if you just scroll down and like how to use it, some of these features are pretty wild. Now, again, the AI generation, the AI content generation is hit or miss. Taplio, it took me a couple of tries before I found something really good, before they created something good for me. But if you think about this, there's all sorts of use cases here, right? AI through Taplio can create a month's worth of content in an hour. And not only that, but it's going to look at the actual posts that are doing well on LinkedIn and emulating those formats, looking at successful posts and learning from their viral elements. That's huge. I see the viral posts all the time on LinkedIn. Anytime I try to duplicate those, again, it's time consuming. it's kind of a drag, and I question whether it's worth it. But that's not it. Now, that's not all. Now there's a LinkedIn post generator as well. This helps you to enhance, it says, your AI tools, your posts. And so this will create a LinkedIn carousel for you. Right now, I use Canva's AI tool, which works pretty well. Yeah, I can create a carousel in about 20 minutes. But now, are you telling me that this is going to create one for me in 20 seconds? Because if that's the case, I'm in a great spot where I can, afford to be a little bit more daring and trying some new things and posting more often. The other thing I think about here is that it can also look at different other post formats. Maybe it can create a video, maybe it can create just an infographic, something else. It's very interesting to see what's available here. But the one that I've used the most is called Automata. I don't know if that's how you say it, but I'm going to go right to the page. All right. You can repurpose content right here. Not only that, but you start with an input, and you can put any of these things in here, and it will give you some output for you. It'll output whatever you're looking for. So in my example here, one of the things I commonly do on the Digital Detroit LinkedIn page is I will share the social media news of the week. I don't usually do more than once or twice a week there. And I'll read the article, or I'll summarize it and write it in a couple paragraphs. And I try to put a spin on it that's more human, makes it sound like it's me. So let's take an article. We'll take this AP News article from recently. I mean, this is not the kind of thing I would probably post on my LinkedIn page, but it's newsworthy. It's a big, big thing right now. All right, let's go back. Again, relevancy is key here. Remember. Let's go on in. Let's take a blog article. I'm going to just upload an article drop a link in there. And let's see what it gives me. It just processed some new content. Okay, great. What does that mean? Well, do I want to put it in a Twitter thread? Do I want to generate an article? Do I want a long LinkedIn post? Do I want a Q&A section? Do I want email subject lines? Like, look at all these. A short LinkedIn post, emotional LinkedIn post. There are tons of different things that exist here. And we're talking about LinkedIn here. So I'm going to go with the long LinkedIn post, and let's see what it will do for me. I guess you can select other ones. I'd be interested to see those too. And let's see if it'll let me do that. Let's create content. And it takes a minute. But I think it's fascinating just to see the fact that it has all these different ways you can do this. And actually, there's also a Chrome plugin that I used to use where you could create the posts on the social network that you were on right in the post creator. So I did that a couple of times. And again, there are clearly some inconsistencies. If this was 100% perfect, I would be out of a job. I mean, maybe not, but it's got a ways to go. And the way I look at this is something like this is going to save me maybe 80% of my time. Usually it takes me about, 20, 25 minutes to find an article that I want to promote on a LinkedIn page, on a company page, or my own page. Although you should not be posting external links on your personal page. You should only do it on company pages. 20, 25 minutes, find an article, paste it, make sure the link preview is good. If not, I got to go find another image, snip it, upload it. Summarize the article in such a way that I want. And then review it and post it. This can get me about 80% of the way there. There's always going to be issues. The biggest issue I've seen with Automata so far is that it duplicates content. So I had it create a long LinkedIn post for me one time, and I saw the same paragraph 3 times. It was a long post. I mean, I give it credit. There's over 1,000 characters, which is kind of what people are saying on LinkedIn is like the optimal length now, which again, I don't know how much I believe that, but I looked at the length of that thing. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I started seeing repetition, and I thought, okay, I've seen the same paragraph on email subject lines 3 times. I think I can take a couple of these out. So but again, I took those out. I did a couple of other little edits, specifically with like the way that it wrote some sentences, and I probably spent 3 minutes on it, and then it was good to go. And I was really stunned because in the vast the vast world of generative AI today, repurposing content is the one spot where I have seen significant time savings and not a drop off in quality. If I use a tool like Copy AI, which I loathe, I can't stand that program. I would spend more time trying to get it to spit out a good blog post for me than I would if I just wrote it myself. But now today in social media, content's shorter. Content is about relevancy. And content's also about formatting. When you think about a Twitter thread, and I don't know if we're going to have time, maybe this will take too long. You think about a Twitter thread, it can take a long time to put together a full Twitter thread. And you might not get a lot of engagement out of it either. Like, the average like follower percentage that sees tweets is like 5%, if that. And a lot of times they're not even the followers that are seeing the tweets. With the For You page on Twitter these days, it's really difficult to get your followers to see it. So as a result, I think it's time well spent. I save time on formatting. I save that minimal time. I save like 15, 18 minutes on the actual creation of the content. And the quality is largely there. Again, I do need to go through and look very quick, very well. But then, at the end of the day, you end up with some time saving and some good stuff. So let's take a look, right? Here's the LinkedIn post. Pretty good. Honestly, this is pretty good. I'm trying to find where the problems are. So the number one issue with bots right now, I will say this is done very well. But I am going to get a little picky, is they will repeat a lot of the same sentences. Right, let's prioritize our mental health on social media by creating boundaries, being cautious about what is shared, and not keeping harassment or abuse a secret. That's what these 3 points are. It's all that's just trying to get into a sentence. And I know that that's just a conclusion sentence, but still. Another thing is, parents are advised, and it's just a very basic breakdown and outline of the article. I mean, I read the article before this. It's pretty straightforward, but I just don't see the big issues here. Actually, other than that, there is some clear. I can inject my personal touch to this in less than 5 minutes, 100%, and get this posted, and it looks good. And again, I didn't create this. AI did. Let's look at that Twitter thread. This is my first time looking at this. Wow. This is also interesting. Hashtags. I mean, I don't like the youth hashtag, but look at that. I think these tweets are way too short. I think you can probably you could almost put this into one tweet, but still pretty interesting seeing what it did. It's this one I don't like as much, but very interesting. I am really impressed. And now again, I probably am not going to use this for Twitter. I honestly would have been more likely to use the Twitter thread if it was good, just because I don't like posting articles like this on my own LinkedIn feed. But that's the power of an AI tool. And Automata is not it's not Chat GPT. It's not one of the big programs out there. It's just a diamond in the rough that somebody showed me a couple months ago And since then, I haven't used it a lot, but I use it enough where I can save up to an hour per day. And that is the power of repurposing content. That is the power of AI in repurposing content. Because if any of this leads to sales for me, revenue, income, then I'm looking at, if I had to like turn my time into dollar figures, the amount of work that I'm putting out for revenue, and the amount of time being spent, I mean, that hourly rate is going up and up. And if it gives me an extra hour at the end of the day to play with the kids, um, to go outside to do something, I'll take that all the time. And so that's the power of repurposing content, specifically on social media here, with these examples. And hopefully, you watched the first part and saw kind of the value of it, why to do it. But this can reach your target audience in a whole new and innovative way, and something that can connect with them much differently than just posting a link to an article. And that's about it. That's the name of the game with a lot of brands. Social media is just about sharing links and trying to establish thought leadership, especially in the B2B space. These are some of these tools that can help you with that. As always, please feel free to reach out with any questions. I'm happy to talk AI tools at any time. But this hopefully just shows the power of generative AI in its infancy. We are less than a year in, and it's really becoming obvious that one of generative AI's strong points is repurposing content. For now, I think that's where it's going to stay, but not for long. It won't be long before I have to completely redo this video, update it, if you will, and repurpose it for another form. Thanks.